just want to point out, like we were, of course, with no disrespect, having a laugh right now on, we want to get the pronunciations right for a lot of these players because we are hearing their names. Perhaps a lot of you are hearing their names for the first time. And the reason, and that's what we want to dive into, and so interesting, the reason why we're hearing a lot of these names coming in now is because of that word, Kolpak.
Well,
right? You've had some retirements.
Yeah.
So and you've had a lot of players that have been pushed up because every country has a large base of players that you're going to pick from.
Right.
Suddenly, even though those players, a lot of them may not have been sureties in the 11, but them moving away makes the other sureties by process of elimination.
Yeah. So you're hearing these names because they're new players in the team and they're not the usual ones you've heard over the years. And generally what will happen is some people will play for 10 years, some for 12 years, and those are just in teams that become good teams. So even with India, we're talking about the opening berth where, Sehwag and Gambhir for years, and then, who's opening? We don't know. And there's this one and that one and that and the other. With South Africa, with regard to Kolpak, I think besides a few of the players who are on that Kolpak list, say since 2015, there's a few of them who are fixtures in the side. Here's Simon Harmer. He came to India actually to play in that series. What was it, 3-0, and there was the rain in Bangalore. And as you look at all the names, the guys have played 1, 2, 5, 6 test matches, bar Morne Morkel, whose name will come up. I'm thinking of somebody else who was also in that attack is Kyle Abbott. Yeah, there you go. His name's come up there. He just seemed to be getting into the side and seemed like he could make a real difference, not necessarily in test matches, but in one-day international cricket. He was a big loss, Riley Rousseau, because it seemed they primed him to be the guy who would be at the top of the order. And then he decided, well, he wasn't going to make it and decided he was going to go. I don't think you're ever going to stop the exodus of players. For Morne Morkel, end of his career, towards the end.
Yeah, Morne makes utter sense.
Yeah, it made sense, it made sense that he went. But I don't think you can stop the exodus of players when there is this available to them. There's another one who might have been a loss at a time they wouldn't have liked. Looking back, though, Duan Olivier gets into the side because there are injuries to the normal bowling lineup. So Vernon Philander was injured, Lungi Ngidi was injured. Trying to think there might have been another injury as well because he wasn't towards the top in terms of the pecking order.
I don't think was
Dale Steyn was injured. So that already says there's a bowling lineup gone. So Kagiso Rabada would be the fourth of those, and one of them would have had to miss out in order for the team to then play. And Duan Olivier came in. He tormented the Pakistanis. 25 wickets in a 3-match series, and then decided I'm done. I'm going. Surprise to absolutely everyone because you then think, well, look, you've made a case for being the third seamer here. He looks ahead, says these guys are all coming back. When they come back, where am I going to be? And I'm 26, 27 years old, whatever it is. I think he's 25, 26. I want to make money. He goes over to England. The surprise for me was when he got there, he said, I want to play for England. Oh, what do you mean? If you say I'm going to make my money, hey, that's fine. And they have to feed their families. All these guys have to feed their families. They're going to make financial decisions, I think, over patriotic decisions. And that comes in a place where if you're in South Africa and you're going rand versus dollar equals, 1:15, and rand versus pound, 1:to nearly 20. If I go to the UK and I play for 3 years and I come back with 500,000 pounds, whatever it is, it's a whole lot of rand. You're not going to begrudge anybody that, right? And that's the nature of it. That's the way sport goes. You only have a short window to play and to then have made sufficient money to then live off. And that's why these guys end up going, mainly, I think.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree with him. Also, as I said, leave, say, a Morne Morkel aside or somebody like that, he's at the end of his career. He knows he's had his South Africa run.
He's doing like a footballer going to the US.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's Beckham.
Something, right?
It's Beckham and Rooney and towards the end of the careers. And but take the others. See, the other biggest problem is if you see a lot of them, they are what we call them tweeners.
Yeah.
They're not sure shots, but they're close. They're there, they could be there, they couldn't be there. That's the toughest thing, is to be a tweener. So I always say that, for example, it was not difficult for Sachin Tendulkar or Jacques Kallis to decide they played cricket.
Correct.
Because from the age of 13, 14, somebody's had a look at them and said, boss, you're destined to be the next great. So there no decision has to be made. You just go through the course.
Yeah.
The difficult one is when you're 17, 18, you're good, but are you good enough to play for India? Are you good enough to play for your state? Okay, I'm getting a state chance. Am I good enough? And I have to take a decision. Do I stop studying and I play? So those are the tough decisions. All these players are in that area where they're not sure that if they give up their careers, South Africa is going to pick them.
Yeah.
So whenever you're a tweener, you're probably making a call saying, you know what, if I'm not sure, I'll have to take a decision. Normally that decision is towards security.
And I think also the carrot in times past wasn't necessarily dangled in terms of finance. So in times past, the thought process would have been weighed more towards just I want to play a test match for my country, and it means a whole lot more than any money anyone can give me. So I'm going to strive to get there and play 1, 2, 5, whatever it is, the number of test matches I get, or 100, right? If you get to 100 test matches and you're good enough. But now, a guy is sitting there, as you say, and he's going, oh, okay, I want to play professional cricket. But India's calling me and they're saying, you can be a 2020 player and you could get $1 million, right? Or England's calling and I could play, in the county scene, and I won't necessarily play. I can't play for South Africa, can't play for my country, but I can play as a Kolpak player. And if I play X number of years, I'll make a decent living. It's now palpable. Everyone can see it. The numbers are in front of them. It wasn't there before.
It was option, wasn't
Right.
there?
It wasn't.
I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it happen. We don't have to look far. If you just think of all the T20 leagues that have happened in the last few years, and think of all the Caribbean players that have been playing, haven't been turning out for West Indies, were turning up for, all in sundry sort of T20 leagues all over the world. So you're pretty much seeing a variation of that. It's just that it's played out a lot because it is a big deal. Kolpak, they're leaving South Africa. They're shutting the door forever, as opposed to West Indies players. And you see they've come back into the fray once things get sorted.
Yeah, so I know it always seems like they're shutting the door forever.
Yeah.
But as I think backwards, right? Faf du Plessis played for Lancashire, I think it was, on a Kolpak deal.
He went back.
Paul Harris played for Warwickshire on a Kolpak deal. And they went there, played in England and came back.
Yeah.
And played for South Africa.
Ooh, so
Right?
not shutting the door forever.
and yes, there were complaints from the English to say, these guys can't do this. How can they do this? But if the guys are young enough, they could go off and they could play in a Kolpak deal. They have no reason not to sign one because they're doing it from a job perspective, a financial opportunity perspective. Admittedly, that was also before you had your IPL and
leagues,
every other option in 2020 league. So guys would take that as an option. And you get those who are pigeonholed as red ball cricketers who would look and say, will I make it round the world? So today, will I make it round the world as a 2020 cricketer? Maybe not. Am I a sure shot for a championship, county championship side as a batsman, as a spinner, whatever you do? Yeah, I can, score 1,000 runs in a season. I'm a good enough player. But do I play for South Africa? Do I not? Am I making that shot? Am I fighting off with somebody who's probably better than me? I am. I'm going, right? And if he's young enough and he goes, he can come back.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's still the loophole, but the loophole certainly was there before. Hence, du Plessis and Harris haven't played.